Breath of the Wild walkthrough, part 4 or 5. I always lose track of what part these videos are. So we're here on the Great Plateau going for the final shrine in this area. Definitely not the final shrine in the game though, because there's over 96 shrines that we're going to have to get, even though I probably won't record every single one of them. So this shrine is mostly what we're going to need the warm doublet for. And as you notice, if you see the temperature meter there, it just dropped into the first range of coldness. So we're not going to need more than 1 cold resistance for this area. And if you don't have the warm doublet, which I got in the previous video, all you have to do is cook up some spicy peppers, which you'll be able to find kind of near the base of this area, and that will give you a pretty decent amount of time in warm resistance. So we're going to also be killing a couple of these bokoblins because they're really not too tough of enemies. These ones are going to have a couple of shields, and also one of them has a flame club, which I think gets really close to killing me. These guys can be a little bit annoying, I guess. Okay, that guy doesn't end up killing me. But that's kind of something interesting to talk about, is that your wooden weapons can catch fire, and especially if you're in really hot areas, they will burn up if you have them out. And in some other parts of the game, if you're wearing metal items, you might get electrocuted by the lightning. So you really need to be mindful of what is going on around you, because if you're not, you'll either lose a decent weapon or get instantaneously killed by a bolt of lightning. Yeah, this game is pretty brutal sometimes. Okay, so we need to get up to that shrine that's kind of on top of this hill here. Now, I'm just kind of looking around, showing off what you can do. You can go down there and go onto the sail if you want. To use those boats, you're going to need a Korok leaf, and that's a leaf that creates wind. It's kind of like the Deku leaf from Wind Waker. And that is just something that is usually around those boats. If a Korok leaf is ever required, the game will usually be nice enough to give you one conveniently. So this game, it is challenging, but at least they're not evil about it. They're not saying, hey, you need to come into this dungeon, and if you don't have a torch, a Korok leaf, and an axe, and 6 weapons that have at least 50 attack, then you're not going to pass it through. They're going to, if there is a dungeon like that, then they're going to give you the leaf, and they're going to give you that torch and a weapon that you might need. So this is also another example of really weird ways you can die. So in that event, that water was too cold. And I knew it was too cold, and I jumped in it anyway. So you're probably going to die a lot early on in this game, which is absolutely fine. This game is just one big new learning curve, and once you learn all the ways that kill you and you learn how to avoid them, it's not too bad. So I also forgot to cut out that loading screen, sorry about that. Now the thing about cold water, as you will learn on a tip screen from time to time, you cannot avoid its chilling effects. Food and warm clothing will not protect you, which I guess makes sense. I mean, if you have really awesome insulated clothes on in real life and you jumped into freezing water, you could still probably get hypothermia. Unless we're talking about like those dry suits, I guess. But anyway, we're not wearing a dry suit. We're not in the modern world. We're in the Zelda world where we have a warm doublet, which I even question if that would truly be warm enough for this area. So anyway, once you make it around that pond, just kind of climb around here and you'll see the final shrine on top of that little mountain. And of course remember that each shrine is a quick travel point, so if at any point that you are actually stuck, or if you think you're going to die, or if you just can't make it to where you want to go, don't be afraid to quick travel back to a more familiar area, hang around there for a little bit longer, get some more food, get some more materials, and then come back later. It's the kind of game that you're probably not going to be able to rush through straight at the beginning, even though I'm sure someone will say like, oh, I beat this in 12 hours. Yeah, okay, fine, good for you. But I mean, for most people, it's probably not the kind of game that you can just rush straight through and beat in a single day. Okay, you know what? I think you actually probably could beat this game in a day eventually. But anyway, you know what I mean. So another hazard, rolling balls down the hill because of these bokoblins, which we will also be killing because we just want their bokoblin parts. And it's kind of weird in this game because when I cook things and when I attack things, I keep thinking I'm playing Skyrim and I keep expecting a big thing to come on my screen. Your destruction level has increased, or your one-handed has increased, but there's no levels in this game, which I'm pretty glad there's not because I would kind of hate to have to grind for that. But it's just kind of strange doing all this stuff, all these kind of somewhat menial tasks and not getting like a skill tree or anything from it. It's like that's the one thing this is missing to make it an RPG, but I'm really glad it doesn't have that, because that would be a little bit too RPG if you ask me, at least for a Zelda game. I mean, it's fine for other games. So anyway, I had to eat food there because I almost got destroyed by a flame club, and that will happen a lot. You'll be thinking, hey, I'm doing just fine, and then something stupid comes by and kills you almost in one hit. And then I made it to the top of this shrine. I should explain that when you activate the shrine, the quick travel point becomes available immediately. So if you can't complete the shrine for whatever reason, you can always come back to it later. I would probably mark it with a stamp on your map so you remember which shrine you haven't completed. You can tell which shrine is completed because it'll be completely blue. If it's only half blue, then it hasn't been completed. So anyway, being the final shrine, this will also be the final rune that we'll be collecting here. So this is the... which rune is this? Oh, the Cryonis? Okay, the Cryo, that's right, the cold one, whatever the thing is. The freezing pillar, which I believe is the most underused ability inside of this game. So we'll be using it extensively in this shrine, and there will be a boss fight that we will be using it extensively, but besides those two things and a couple of other places, we're not really going to be using Cryonis or however the heck you pronounce that. We're not going to be using Cryonis, whatever. We're not going to be using Freezy Pillar ability very often, so like it while you can, I guess. I was kind of disappointed. I thought we'd get to have some pretty creative uses for that, but not so much. And I guess it sort of makes sense. There's really not a whole lot of places where water is totally in the way, but that can really be helpful with getting across big pools of water so you don't have to swim. So there is going to be one of these mini guardian enemies, and as I did the first time I fought him, if you hit him if you hit A, when you have your shield up, and if you hit A right before that beam hits your shield, you can deflect it back at him. I missed a couple of times there, but no big deal, really. And if you manage to get a hold of a guardian shield, that shield will automatically deflect those guys' laser beams back at them. Of course, you can hunt them down or shoot them with arrows if you so desire. There's also a chest back here, but of course, using the shield deflect method on those things is probably the easiest way to get rid of them. And I'm not too sure if their beam hurts your shield. It probably does damage your shield, so you do want to be careful with the timing, and you want to kind of gauge, okay, is it worth attempting this 30 times, or do I just want to go and kill it, take a couple of hits, and use up a little bit of food? I mean, it's kind of up to you to decide that, and you're going to be making a lot of those decisions inside of this game. So we're finally done with the shrine, and the rest of this video and the video after this are going to be, for the most part, cutscenes, so I'm not really going to be talking a whole lot. We got all 4 of these spirit orbs that we need. I'm going to be talking a little bit in the next video, but only for a couple of seconds to explain something. So that'll be it for this video, and I will continue on in the next one.